There comes a moment in your life when you realize something powerful. No one is coming to save you. No shortcut is going to carry you. And the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the grind you're willing to embrace. The grind transforms you before it rewards you. And most people never understand that truth until they walk through it. They think the grind is just a phase, just a season you push through to get what you want. But the grind is so much deeper than that. It's a sculptor. It shapes you, molds you, challenges you, stretches you, and forces you to confront the parts of yourself that comfort will never touch. Before anything great shows up in your life, the grind shows up first. And it doesn't come gently. It comes with weight, resistance, pressure, and repetition. It asks for your patience, your discipline, your resilience. It asks for things that are uncomfortable to give, things that nobody sees, and things that don't produce instant results. That's why people quit. They expect the grind to hand them a trophy before they've even earned a scar. But the grind doesn't reward the impatient. It rewards the committed. And long before it gives you anything tangible, it starts changing who you are internally. On the days you don't feel like showing up but still do, something inside you shifts. On the mornings when the alarm goes off and every part of you wants to stay comfortable, but you choose purpose over pleasure, your character gets a little sharper. On the nights when your body is tired, your mind is fatigued, and your spirit feels heavy, but you still take that next step. That's when transformation is happening. You might not notice it at first. You won't see the results immediately. And that's what makes the process feel unfair. You do everything right, you put in the hours, you stay consistent, you give your best, and it feels like nothing is moving. But that's where most people misunderstand what the grind is actually doing. It's not ignoring you. It's preparing you. Before the reward can sit in your hands, the grind has to build hands strong enough to hold it. Before success can enter your life, the grind has to create a version of you capable of sustaining it. Because if you get the result without the resilience, you'll lose it just as fast as you gained it. Transformation happens in the trenches, not on the podium. It happens in the dark, not in the spotlight. It happens when you're by yourself questioning whether what you're doing even matters. It happens when you choose discipline over distraction, consistency over excuses, and purpose over comfort. Every repetition, every failure, every lesson, every setback, it's all carving you into someone who doesn't just want the reward, but someone who is ready for it. And the grind doesn't just change your work ethic. It changes your identity. It shifts the way you think. It changes what you tolerate, how you speak to yourself, how you handle adversity, how you respond to pressure. It teaches you to stop negotiating with your goals. It teaches you to stop depending on motivation and start depending on commitment. Motivation comes and goes. The grind stays. And when you stay with it long enough, you start to rise above who you used to be. The grind develops a quiet confidence, not arrogance, not ego, but the kind of confidence that comes from knowing you have paid the price day after day. It gives you a backbone built on effort, not luck. It teaches you that you can take a hit, adjust, and keep moving. It shows you that you can fail and still not be finished. It reveals a strength you didn't know you had, because that strength only appears under pressure. And then one day, something shifts. The results start showing. The reward arrives. People clap for you, celebrate you, admire you. But what they don't see is that the reward didn't make you who you are. The grind did. Long before anything changed around you, something changed within you. And that inner change is the real victory. Because the grind transforms you long before it ever rewards you. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you're becoming. And most people underestimate how powerful that bridge truly is. They think discipline is just about routine or rules or forcing yourself to do what you don't want to do. But discipline is deeper than that. Discipline is identity. Discipline is direction. Discipline is the quiet force that separates the life you settle for from the life you're meant for. Without it, you stay stuck in the same patterns, repeating the same days, living the same story. With it, you step into growth, evolution, and transformation. Discipline isn't about perfection, it's about intention. It's about choosing your future self over your current comfort every single day. Who you are right now is shaped by the habits you've accepted, the standards you've lived by, and the choices you've made when nobody was watching. Who you're becoming is shaped by the habits you're willing to build, the standard you're ready to raise. and the choices you'll make, even when they're uncomfortable. The space between those two versions of you is not crossed by motivation, talent, or luck. It's crossed by discipline. Discipline is the architect that drafts the structure of your future. It's the engineer that reinforces your foundation. It's the builder that works day after day, even when the results are invisible. The reason discipline matters so much is because there will always be days when you don't feel like working, moving, pushing, growing, or showing up. There will be days when you are tired, uninspired, distracted, or overwhelmed. There will be days when the easy thing is to quit, delay, or settle. Those days are where discipline changes everything. It steps in when motivation steps out. It carries you when feelings fail you. It reminds you of your vision when your mind tries to forget it. Discipline isn't emotional. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't wait for the perfect moment. It simply shows up. And every day you show up with it, you build a piece of that bridge. Most people want success without structure. They want progress without sacrifice. They want confidence without consistency. But the truth is simple. The person you're hoping to become requires habits you haven't built yet and sacrifices you haven't made yet. You don't accidentally evolve into a stronger version of yourself. Growth isn't an accident, it's a decision. And discipline is the proof of that decision. It's the daily evidence that you're choosing the path that aligns with your future, not your excuses. Discipline teaches you something powerful about yourself. It teaches you that you can depend on you. It teaches you that you can follow through. It teaches you that you're capable of doing hard things, not once, but repeatedly. That reliability builds confidence. Not the loud kind that demands attention, but the quiet kind that moves with purpose. The kind of confidence that says, I know who I'm becoming because I pay the price for it every day. It also creates separation, not from people, but from your past self. Every disciplined choice breaks a piece of the old you. Every small win shifts your identity. Every consistent action brings you closer to the person you want to be. And the stronger your discipline becomes, the clearer your future becomes. You start to realize that discipline isn't taking anything away from you. It's giving you everything. Freedom, clarity, growth, excellence, purpose. Discipline doesn't confine you. It frees you from the limitations of impulse and inconsistency. And somewhere along the journey, something clicks. The uncomfortable becomes familiar. The repetition becomes rhythm. The process becomes part of you. Discipline stops feeling like a burden and starts feeling like alignment. You become someone you respect, someone you trust, someone built, not born. Who you're becoming is waiting, but you'll never reach that version of yourself by hoping. You reach it by crossing the bridge, and that bridge is built with discipline, one choice, one day, one step at a time. Pressure doesn't break you. It reveals what's inside you. And most people misunderstand that truth until life puts them in a situation that tests them beyond comfort. Pressure isn't designed to destroy you. It's designed to expose you. It brings out the strength you didn't know you had, the resilience you didn't realize you built, and the character you've been quietly shaping through every experience, every challenge, every struggle. People think pressure is the enemy, but pressure is often the moment that brings out your deepest potential. Without it, you would never know what you're truly capable of. Without it, you would never access the parts of yourself that only hardship can unlock. When everything is easy, everyone looks strong. When life flows smoothly, confidence is effortless. But when the weight gets heavy, when problems stack up, when emotions run high, when outcomes look uncertain, that's when your true self steps forward. Pressure doesn't create weakness, it exposes it. Pressure doesn't create strength, it uncovers it. Pressure strips away excuses, distractions, pretenses, and leaves you face to face with the core of who you are. That's why pressure is uncomfortable, because it doesn't allow you to hide. It forces you to see yourself clearly, your habits, your mindset, your preparation, your courage, your fears, your faith. But the beauty of pressure is that it also reveals your capacity to grow. It shows you that the version of you that walked into adversity is not the same version that comes out of it. Pressure pushes you past the limits you believed you had. It stretches your perspective, sharpens your focus, and strengthens your resolve. When you're under pressure, you learn to breathe differently, think differently, act differently. You learn to dig deeper, to trust your fight, to rely on your grit rather than your feelings. You learn that even when you're tired, even when you're uncertain, Even when you're hurt, you can still move forward. Pressure reveals that you are far stronger than your doubts, far tougher than your fears, far more capable than your circumstances. So many people run from pressure because they believe it means they're failing. But often pressure is the sign that you're stepping into something bigger than you. Pressure shows up when you're growing, not when you're stagnant. It appears when you're leveling up, not when you're staying the same. Pressure is evidence that your life is expanding, your responsibilities are increasing, your opportunities are rising. If life never put weight on you, you would stay the same size forever. Just like muscles grow under tension, your character grows under pressure. Without resistance, there is no growth. Without challenge, there is no progress. Without pressure, there is no evolution. And yes, pressure feels overwhelming. It feels heavy. It feels unfair at times. But what people forget is that diamonds are only created under extreme pressure. Steel is only strengthened through fire. The strongest trees are the ones that survive the harshest storms. Everything powerful in this world is shaped by conditions that would break something weaker. So if life has put you under pressure, it's not because you're weak, it's because you're capable. It's because there's something within you that needs to come out. Something strong, something rare, something valuable. When pressure hits, you get a choice. You can break, or you can become. You can collapse, or you can rise. You can see pressure as punishment, or you can see it as preparation. And when you choose to stand tall under the weight, when you choose to keep moving despite the tension, you discover the version of yourself that pressure came to reveal. You learn that pressure doesn't define you, it refines you. It doesn't crush you, it crafts you. It doesn't take from you. It uncovers the strength that's been inside you all along. Greatness is built in the dark, long before anyone applauds. And that's the part of the journey most people never see. They see the spotlight, the success, the celebration, the recognition, but they don't see the countless hours spent alone, working when no one is watching, pushing when no one is cheering, believing when no one is validating. The world applauds results, but greatness is born in the unseen moments that look ordinary, boring, repetitive, and thankless. It is shaped in silence, in solitude, in sacrifice. The dark is where the work is done, the character is forged, and the foundation is built. The applause only arrives when the building is already standing. The dark is not a punishment, it's the preparation. It's the place where you learn to trust yourself, where you learn to rely on discipline instead of motivation, where you learn to stay committed without needing approval. In the dark, you don't have an audience to impress. You just have the truth of your effort. In the dark, you can't hide behind talent or talk. You either show up or you don't. You either put in the work or you don't. The dark is honest, and that honesty is what makes you better. It forces you to confront your weaknesses, sharpen your strengths, and embrace the process without expecting immediate reward. The dark is also where consistency is built. Repetition doesn't feel glamorous. It doesn't feel exciting. It's not something people post about or brag about. But it's the thing that separates dreamers from doers. Greatness requires you to perform the same actions over and over until they become part of who you are. It requires you to keep showing up even when growth is invisible and progress feels slow. It requires you to keep your word to yourself, even on the days you don't feel like keeping it. That consistency built in the dark becomes unstoppable when the lights finally turn on. And the dark is where resilience grows. When things get heavy, when obstacles appear, when doubt creeps in, when the journey tests you, no one is there to lift you up or cheer you on. You have to find your reason internally. You have to push through discomfort without applause. You have to keep going for the sake of the vision, not for the sake of validation. That kind of resilience only comes from facing the dark without fear. It teaches you that you don't need external praise to move forward. It teaches you that your purpose is stronger than your emotions. It teaches you that the grind is worth it because of who you become along the way. People often say they want greatness, but they don't want the darkness that builds it. They want the celebration without the struggle. They want the rewards without the sacrifices. They want the stage without the silence. But the truth is, you cannot skip the unseen part of the journey. It is the price of entry. Every master began as a beginner. Every champion started with small, quiet steps. Every success story is filled with chapters no one talks about because those chapters don't look impressive yet. They are the exact moments that made everything possible. Greatness is not a moment. It's a process, a long, steady, often lonely process. You don't rise to the level of praise, you rise to the level of your preparation. What you do in the dark shows up in the light. What you sacrifice in silence becomes confidence in public. What you build when no one believes becomes undeniable when the world finally sees it. And when the applause eventually comes, when people finally notice your work, when they praise your strength and your talent and your success, you'll know the truth. The real victory didn't happen in those moments. It happened long before, in the quiet, consistent grind that nobody clapped for. Because greatness is built in the dark, long before anyone applauds. You don't control outcomes, but you control your commitment. That truth is one of the hardest lessons to accept in life. We're raised to believe that if we work hard, everything will go exactly how we imagine. That if we show up, give our best, and stay consistent, the world will reward us on our timeline. But life doesn't operate on guarantees. Effort doesn't always equal immediate results. Sacrifice doesn't always bring instant success. The outcomes, how fast something happens, how people respond, what doors open, what challenges show up, those are not in your hands. But the commitment, the decision to stay locked in, that's the part you control every single day. Commitment is what keeps you grounded when the results are slow. It's what keeps you disciplined when the process feels repetitive. It's what keeps you moving when the motivation disappears. Because motivation is emotional, it comes and goes like the weather. Commitment is a decision. It anchors you even through storms. When you choose commitment, you choose to keep going regardless of how the outcome looks today. You choose to stay faithful to the process. Even when the process feels like it isn't paying off, you choose to invest in your future self instead of being controlled by your present frustration. And the truth is, outcomes can deceive you. Sometimes you're doing the right things and it doesn't show yet. Sometimes you're planting seeds that haven't sprouted. Sometimes your growth is internal long before it becomes visible. If you judge your journey solely by outcomes, you will quit long before you're meant to win. You'll walk away from breakthroughs because the results didn't appear fast enough. You'll convince yourself the effort isn't working when in reality, it's working in ways you cannot see yet. Commitment keeps you from giving up in those unseen phases. Commitment gives you the patience to let the process unfold without forcing the outcome. Commitment also reveals your character. Anyone can be consistent when things are going well. Anyone can be confident when success is obvious. But when things are uncertain, when doors close, when plans fall apart, when progress slows, that's when commitment is tested. That's when you find out who you really are. The people who succeed are not the ones who had the easiest path. We're the ones who stayed committed when it was hardest to do so. They didn't control what happened around them, but they controlled what they did about it. And commitment is not loud. It's quiet. It's the early mornings no one sees. The late nights no one applauds. The sacrifices no one thanks you for. Commitment is showing up on the days you don't feel strong. It's doing the work, even when your emotions try to talk you out of it. It's reminding yourself of the vision when the path feels blurry. It's choosing discipline over excuses, purpose over comfort, responsibility over fear. That's the kind of commitment that builds a future, not because it guarantees the outcome, but because it guarantees your growth. When you stay committed, you become someone who is prepared for whatever outcome arrives. Maybe the door you were pushing on doesn't open, but commitment has built you into someone capable of finding another path. Maybe the opportunity you wanted wasn't meant for you, but commitment has made you strong enough to pursue something better. Commitment ensures that no matter how life shifts, you don't break, you adapt. You don't crumble, you adjust. You don't quit, you grow. Eventually outcomes do come. Success does show up. Doors do open. But when they do, you'll understand something powerful. It wasn't the outcome that made you who you are. It was your commitment. The outcome was the reward, but the commitment was the transformation. And that transformation is something no result, no failure, no setback can ever take away. You may not control how everything unfolds, but you always control how deeply you commit. And that commitment becomes the force that shapes your life, your future, and the person you become. When the grind becomes your identity, change becomes inevitable. Because at that point, the work is no longer something you do, it becomes who you are. Most people treat the grind like a temporary phase, something they step in when they need results, and step out of when things get uncomfortable. But the people who truly evolve are the ones who decide that the grind isn't a moment, a mood, or a season. It's their standard. It's their way of living. It's the code they choose to operate by, regardless of circumstances, emotions, or convenience. When the grind becomes part of you, transformation stops being optional and starts becoming automatic. A lot of people start strong, full of motivation and excitement. They push hard for a few days, maybe a few weeks, sometimes even a few months. But eventually the motivation fades. Life gets busy. Discomfort shows up. Routine becomes boring, and without identity behind the effort, the grind becomes negotiable. But when the grind becomes your identity, there is no negotiation. It's not about whether you feel like working today. It's about who you are. It's about the standard you refuse to lower. It's about the promise you made to yourself that you intend to keep no matter what. Identity creates consistency. When you tell yourself, this is just what I do, you no longer waste energy debating with your feelings. You no longer wrestle with excuses or search for shortcuts. You operate like someone who is committed at a deeper level. You treat routine like responsibility. You treat discipline like oxygen. You show up even when you're tired. You push forward even when you're uncertain. You grind because you've built your life around the idea that effort is the minimum, not the maximum. And when effort becomes your baseline, change becomes natural. You begin to think differently. You start choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort. You develop habits that pull you forward even when your emotions try to hold you back. You build momentum that carries you through tough moments because your identity simply won't allow you to quit. Your circle begins to shift. People who don't understand your discipline follow it, and people who live at the level you aspire to become begin to enter your life. Your conversations change, your priorities change, your standards change. When the grind becomes who you are, everything around you begins to reflect that shift. And the beautiful thing about identity-driven grinding is that it removes the pressure of perfection. You're not trying to get everything right. You're trying to stay committed. You're trying to align your daily actions with your long-term vision. You begin to understand that the grind isn't about flashes of greatness. It's about sustained effort. It's about small wins repeated consistently. It's about showing up 100 times when most people quit after 3. That repetition builds confidence, not the loud, arrogant kind, but the quiet belief that comes from knowing you have earned every step of your progress. As the grind becomes your identity, you stop chasing change and start embodying it. You stop wishing for improvement and start becoming improvement. You stop looking for opportunities and start creating them. You stop hoping life will get better and start building a life that is better. Change is no longer something you wait for. It's something you produce day after day through your choices, sacrifices, and actions. Even in moments of setback, you recover faster because identity holds you up. You don't crumble at the first sign of difficulty because the grind has taught you how to endure, adapt, and rise. You don't lose yourself when results slow down because your identity is tied to effort, not outcome. You don't get discouraged by challenges because the grind has made you stronger than the obstacles in front of you. When the grind becomes your identity, the old you can't survive. Your habits shift, your mindset sharpens, your environment evolves, your future expands. You can't help but change because you're no longer living from impulse, you're living from purpose. And when a person lives from purpose, change doesn't just happen. It becomes inevitable.